What if I told you that getting angry, stressed, or upset is completely optional? That no matter what happens today, you could choose to stay perfectly calm if you knew this one secret? Most people think their emotions just happen to them. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you get mad. Your boss criticizes you, you feel hurt. But what if I told you there's a way to control how things affect you? Not by changing the world, but by changing something much more powerful. Today we're going to explore how to develop an unshakable mindset where nothing bothers you unless you allow it to. Your mind is the only real battleground. Picture this. Two people standing in the same rainstorm. One curses the weather, hunches their shoulders, and complains about ruined plans. The other lifts their face to the sky, laughs, and keeps walking. Same rain, different experience. This is the hidden truth most people never grasp. Nothing in the external world has any power over you until you give it that power. That insult that kept you up last night, just sound waves in the air until you decided they meant something about you. The traffic jam that ruined your day, just metal boxes temporarily not moving until you told yourself it was a personal inconvenience. We go through life believing events happen to us, when in reality nothing happens to us until it happens between our ears. The space between an event and your reaction isn't just empty air, it's the most important territory you'll ever claim. It's where freedom lives. Think of your mind as a castle. Most people leave the drawbridge down all the time, letting every passing thought, every random comment, every minor inconvenience march right in and take over. But those who understand the game keep the bridge up until they consciously decide what deserves entry. Here's how you start taking back control. First, recognize that every single thing you currently react to emotionally is something you've trained yourself to react to. That anger you feel when someone interrupts you, learned. That anxiety before a big meeting, learned. That frustration when plans change, learned. The good news? What's learned can be unlearned. Try this experiment. For one day, pretend you're a scientist observing your own reactions. When something triggers you, don't react. Just note, interesting, my chest gets tight when people raise their voices. Fascinating, I feel heat in my face when someone disagrees with me. This simple act of observation begins to break the automatic connection between event and reaction. The deeper truth is this. People and events don't upset you. Your thoughts about them do. Two people can hear the same criticism. One crumbles, the other shrugs it off. The difference isn't the words spoken, but the meaning attached to them. When you truly grasp this, an extraordinary shift occurs. You stop being at the mercy of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your experiences. The rude clerk isn't making you angry. You're choosing anger as a response. The delayed flight isn't stressing you out. You're choosing to stress about something you can't control. This isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about realizing you have options. That same rude clerk could amuse you if you saw them as someone having a worse day than you. That delayed flight could be an opportunity to read or think if you decided to see it that way. The most powerful people in history all shared this understanding. The outer world will always be chaotic, but the inner world is yours to command. Wars have been won by outnumbered armies. Fortunes have been built from nothing. All because someone understood that the real battle isn't against circumstances. It's for control of the mind. Start today. The next time something makes you feel a certain way, pause. Ask, did this actually force me to feel this? Or did I choose this reaction? You'll discover a truth more valuable than any secret. The key to your emotions has been in your pocket all along. The 10-second rule that changes everything. There's a magical space between something happening and you reacting to it. Most people never notice it exists. They move straight from event to emotion like a train locked on tracks. But in that tiny gap, often no longer than 10 seconds, lies complete control over your emotional life. Here's how it works. When something upsetting occurs, someone cuts you off, a project fails, you receive bad news, your body will immediately prepare to react. Your pulse quickens, your muscles tense, your mind starts drafting angry speeches or catastrophic scenarios. This is the critical moment. Instead of following that automatic path, do this. Stop. Breathe in slowly for 4 seconds. Hold it for 3. Exhale for 4. In just those 11 seconds, something remarkable happens. The emotional wave that was about to crash over you instead passes through you. During this pause, ask yourself one simple question. Is this actually harming me or just my pride? You'll find that about 90% of what upsets us falls into the second category. That coworker who took credit for your idea doesn't actually hurt you, just your ego. The friend who forgot your birthday, no physical harm done. Even many genuinely bad events lose their sting when you realize they're not threats to your survival, just to your preferences. This 10-second rule works because emotions are like fire. They need immediate fuel to grow. Deny them that first burst of attention, and they fade. Give them even a few seconds of focus, and they'll burn out of control. Think of the last time you reacted instantly to something and later regretted it. Now imagine if you'd taken just 10 seconds before responding. How differently would that interaction have gone? The truth is, almost nothing in life requires an immediate emotional response. Even in literal emergencies, calm heads make better decisions than panicked ones. The beauty of this practice is its simplicity. You don't need special training or perfect conditions, just the willingness to insert that tiny pause between what happens and what you do about it. At first, you'll catch yourself after you've already reacted. Then you'll start catching yourself. Eventually, you'll reach the point where you notice that space before you even begin to react. That's when you'll discover something profound. Most of what we call reactions aren't reactions at all. They're choices we've made so quickly we forgot we were choosing. The person who seems unshakable isn't someone without emotions. They're just someone who has learned to use that 10-second window to decide which emotions are worth having. Try it today. The next time your phone buzzes with an annoying message, 10 seconds before replying. When someone says something that triggers you, 10 seconds before responding. You'll soon realize that the difference between being controlled by your emotions and being in control of them isn't years of therapy or spiritual practice. It's just 10 seconds. And those seconds add up. Over days, you'll notice fewer conflicts. Over weeks, less stress. Over months, people will start wondering how you stay so calm all the time. The answer: you're not calm by chance. You're calm by choice. One 10-second decision at a time. How to rewrite your automatic responses. Your mind runs on patterns you've built over years, like well-worn paths in a forest. Someone says something sharp, and instantly your chest tightens. A driver cuts you off, and your hands grip the wheel tighter. These reactions feel automatic, like reflexes. But here's the truth. They're just old habits, and habits can be broken. Think of the last time you reacted without thinking. Maybe it was a sharp word from a coworker, or a friend canceling plans last minute. That heat rising in your face, that quick impulse, it wasn't the event itself causing that. It was your mind's instant interpretation of it. Someone else in your exact situation might have shrugged it off. That's the proof. The reaction isn't in the event, it's in you. This is where your power lies. Between what happens and how you respond, there's a space, small at first, but widen it and you'll find your freedom. Next time you feel that familiar surge of anger or frustration, do something simple. Pause. Not to suppress the feeling, but to question it. Ask yourself, is this reaction helping me or hurting me? Here's the secret no one tells you. Emotions are choices you've practiced so often they've become invisible. Someone disrespects you, and anger flashes because that's the script you've rehearsed. But scripts can be rewritten. Instead of anger, try curiosity. Instead of frustration, try amusement. It won't feel natural at first. Nothing new does. But each time you choose differently, you weaken the old habit and strengthen a new one. Imagine your mind as a garden. The old reactions are weeds that grew unchecked. You can't just yank them out once and be done. You have to plant something new in their place. So when irritation starts to rise, smile instead. Not because you're faking it, but because you're reclaiming your right to choose. Smiling sends a signal to your brain. This isn't an emergency. It's a small act of rebellion against your own patterns. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about no longer being a puppet to emotions you didn't consciously choose. The goal isn't to stop feeling, it's to start deciding. Why most offenses are really compliments. Insults are like rain. They only soak you if you stand out in them. Most people never realize that when someone tries to offend them, they're actually revealing something important, not about you, but about themselves. Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone truly at peace with themselves go out of their way to insult another person? It doesn't happen. People only throw stones at trees that bear fruit. The very fact that someone feels the need to knock you down is proof you're standing tall enough to be noticed. That coworker who mocks your ideas, they wouldn't bother if your ideas weren't getting attention. The relative who always has something critical to say. Their words say more about their own dissatisfaction than your shortcomings. Even strangers who lash out are really just holding up mirrors to their own inner struggles. There's an old story about a man who spat at a wise teacher. Instead of getting angry, the teacher wiped his face and said, "That must have been meant for someone else. I've done nothing to deserve it." The insult couldn't land because there was no target. This is the key. When you realize most offenses aren't about you at all, they lose their power to upset you. Someone's rude comment says nothing about your worth and everything about what's lacking in them. The more someone tries to get under your skin, the more they're showing you where their own wounds are. Next time someone tries to offend you, try this. Don't react. Watch their words like clouds passing overhead, present, but not personal. You'll start to see the truth. Insults are just noise made by people who haven't found their own peace. And the less you react, the more you'll notice something surprising. You weren't upset by the insult itself, but by your own belief that it mattered. The most unshakable people aren't those who never hear criticism. They're the ones who've learned to let it pass through them like wind through a screen. They understand that trying to offend someone is like throwing a ball. If the other person doesn't catch it, it just falls to the ground. Here's the simple truth. What others say about you is their business. How you take it is yours. When you stop accepting the gifts of anger and offense people try to hand you, those gifts remain right where they belong, with the gift. The unbreakable mirror principle. There exists a silent law that governs all human interaction. A principle so fundamental that understanding it changes everything about how you move through the world. Imagine every person you meet holds up a mirror reflecting not who you are, but who they are. The way they treat you, the words they choose, the energy they bring, none of it originates from you. All of it flows from their own inner landscape. When someone approaches you with anger, you're not seeing your own reflection in their eyes. You're seeing their internal storms made visible. That person who cuts you off in traffic isn't reacting to your driving. They're revealing their own impatience, their own rushed existence. The coworker who constantly criticizes isn't commenting on your work. They're projecting their own insecurities about their performance. This realization doesn't just change how you see others, it revolutionizes how you see yourself. Most people go through life like emotional weather vanes, spinning with every gust of others' moods and opinions. They believe the harsh words, internalize the criticisms, celebrate the flattery, all without recognizing these were never about them to begin with. But when you grasp the mirror principle, you become like a mountain. People's words and actions blow past you because you understand they originate in their own inner climate, not yours. Consider this: when you're in a terrible mood, doesn't the whole world seem darker? When you're joyful, don't ordinary moments seem magical? This is the mirror principle in action within you. Your internal state colors your external perceptions. Now extend that understanding to everyone else. That rude store clerk isn't responding to you. They're responding to whatever circumstances shaped their day before you walked in. The friend who forgot your birthday isn't making a statement about your worth. They're caught up in their own struggles. This isn't about excusing poor behavior. It's about recognizing that taking things personally is like being upset at rain for being wet. It's simply the nature of the phenomenon. When you stop interpreting others' actions as commentary on your worth, you free yourself from an exhausting game you were never meant to play. Practice this today. Next time someone behaves negatively toward you, pause. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, what does this say about their inner world right now? You'll begin to see patterns. The loudest critics are often the most insecure. The harshest judges usually carry the heaviest self-judgment. Their words and actions become windows into their psyche rather than mirrors of your value. The most peaceful people aren't those who never face harshness. They're those who understand the harshness was never about them in the first place. They walk through life lightly because they're not carrying the weight of every sideways glance, every sharp word, every perceived slight. They know these things belong to the people who emitted them, not to themselves. Here's the ultimate freedom this principle offers. When you truly grasp that nothing others do is because of you, you reclaim your right to peace. Their opinions, their moods, their actions, these are their own business. Your reactions, your peace, your path, these are yours. The mirrors will keep showing up wherever you go. The power lies in knowing which reflections are worth studying and which are simply passing images on glass. How to use obstacles as fuel. Every great achievement in human history was preceded by a chorus of voices saying it couldn't be done. Every innovator faced skepticism, every artist encountered rejection, every visionary weathered ridicule. The difference between those who succeeded and those who faded wasn't absence of obstacles, it was how they used them. Obstacles are not roadblocks, they're signposts. When you encounter resistance, it doesn't mean you're going the wrong way, it often means you're heading exactly where you need to go. Think of how muscles grow, through resistance. Think of how metal is strengthened, through fire. The principle applies to human potential just as surely. That person who says you can't, they've given you a gift. Their doubt is pure fuel, if you know how to use it. Every no contains the energy for a more determined yes. Every closed door invites you to prove there's another way in. The world's most accomplished individuals didn't avoid obstacles, they transformed them into stepping stones. Here's how to begin working with obstacles instead of against them. When faced with resistance, pause and ask, what is this here to teach me? Maybe it's revealing an area where you need more skill. Perhaps it's testing your commitment. It might even be redirecting you towards something better. The obstacle isn't the enemy, it's the perfect teacher you didn't know you needed. Consider how fire needs oxygen to burn. Your dreams need obstacles to grow stronger. Without resistance, there's no reason to develop resilience. Without challenges, there's no opportunity to discover what you're truly capable of. The people who appear lucky because they face few obstacles are actually unfortunate. They're denied the very friction that would make them great. There's an alchemy to turning obstacles into advantages. It begins with refusing to see them as personal. The universe isn't punishing you with challenges. It's preparing you for what you asked for. That business venture facing unexpected difficulties. It's not failing, it's being tempered. That creative project meeting resistance. It's not being rejected, it's being refined. Start today. Make a list of your current obstacles. Next to each one, write how it could actually serve you. That difficult person in your life, they're teaching you patience. That financial challenge, it's forcing you to become more resourceful. That failed attempt, it's eliminating an approach that wouldn't have worked long term. When you begin seeing obstacles this way, something remarkable happens. You stop dreading them and start appreciating them. The secret the most accomplished people know is this: obstacles are the universe's way of separating those who truly want something from those who merely wish for it. When you persist where others quit, when you find opportunity where others see opposition, you join the ranks of those who don't just dream but do. Your obstacles aren't in your way, they are the way. Each one is perfectly designed to forge in you the qualities required for what you seek. The question isn't whether you'll face resistance, the question is what you'll make of it when you do. Will it be your excuse or your fuel? The choice has always been yours. The millionaire's secret to emotional control. There exists a quiet understanding among those who have achieved true success, not the flashy, temporary kind that comes and goes with luck, but the enduring kind built through consistent action and unshakable mindset. This understanding is simple yet profound. Problems are inevitable, but suffering is optional. Watch how these individuals handle setbacks. Notice how they respond when plans collapse, when deals fall through, when unexpected obstacles arise. There's no dramatic outbursts, no panicked reactions, no emotional storms, just calm assessment and decisive action. Why? Because they've learned to separate what happens from what it means. Imagine two farmers looking at the same dark clouds rolling in. One curses the coming rain, complains about ruined plans, and spends the day miserable. The other simply puts on a raincoat and continues working. Both experience the same weather. Only one lets it dictate their emotional state. This is the fundamental difference in how successful people approach problems. They understand that while you can't control every event, you can always control your response. When a storm comes, they don't waste energy shouting at the clouds, they prepare. They've built emotional umbrellas for every season. Patience for delays, resilience for failures, flexibility for changed circumstances. These aren't special gifts reserved for the lucky few, they're skills anyone can develop with practice. The key lies in recognizing that emotions are signals, not commands. Fear doesn't mean stop, it means be cautious. Anger doesn't mean lash out, it means boundaries may need setting. Successful people listen to their emotions without being ruled by them. They've trained themselves to pause between stimulus and response, creating just enough space to choose rather than react. This emotional control isn't about suppression, it's about proper channeling. Like a skilled sailor who doesn't try to stop the wind but learns to use it, they harness emotional energy toward productive ends. Frustration becomes fuel for improvement. Disappointment transforms into data for better decisions. Even grief, when allowed its proper space, can deepen wisdom and compassion. Begin building your emotional umbrella today. Start small. When minor inconveniences arise, the missed train, the spilled coffee, the rude comment, practice non-reaction. Observe how quickly the moment passes when you don't feed it with emotional energy. Gradually work up to larger challenges, applying the same principle. Over time, you'll develop what appears to others as unshakable calm, but is really just the accumulated result of daily emotional discipline. Remember, rain falls on everyone. The difference lies in who comes prepared. Why your worst days are actually gifts. Life has a curious way of giving us exactly what we need, though rarely in the wrapping we expect. Those days that feel like punishment, the failures, the heartbreaks, the seemingly insurmountable challenges, are actually life's most effective teachers. They don't come to break you, but to make you. Consider steel. Left alone, it remains soft and malleable. Only when subjected to the intense heat of the forge and the sharp blows of the hammer does it become strong enough for meaningful work. Human character develops the same way. Without resistance, we stay soft. Without challenge, we never discover our true capacity. Your most difficult moments are precise indicators showing where you need to grow. That anxiety you feel when speaking publicly, it's highlighting an opportunity to develop confidence. That frustration with your progress, it's revealing your hunger for improvement. That relationship that tested your patience, it was teaching you boundaries. The obstacles feel personal because they are not as punishments, but as perfectly tailored training for the person you're becoming. History's most admired figures weren't spared hardship, they were strengthened by it. Every great achievement was preceded by equally great challenges. What separates those who thrive from those who break isn't the absence of struggle, but their relationship to it. One sees the obstacle as the end of the road. The other sees it as part of the road. There's profound wisdom in thanking your challenges, not with false positivity or forced gratitude, but with the genuine recognition that without them, you would remain limited. That difficult boss taught you endurance. That financial struggle forced you to become resourceful. That heartbreak opened you to deeper self-understanding. The gifts were always there. They just came disguised as problems. Start reframing your toughest experiences today. Look back at past challenges and ask, what did this teach me? How did this make me stronger? You'll begin to see patterns, how certain difficulties kept recurring until you learned their lessons, how each one equipped you for what came next. Then look at current struggles with new eyes, not as misfortunes, but as preparation. The day will come when you'll see clearly how every difficulty, every setback, every painful moment was necessary to bring you where you needed to be. Until then, trust the process. The obstacles aren't in your way, they are the way. And that's the greatest gift of all. The 24-hour rule for emotional mastery. There exists a powerful but simple discipline that can transform how you experience life's inevitable ups and downs. It requires no special training, no complex philosophy, just a clock and a decision. When something bothers you, when some event or comment stirs your emotions, give yourself permission to feel it fully for exactly 24 hours. Then let it go completely. This is not about suppressing emotions. It's about containing them within healthy boundaries. Most people make one of two mistakes with their emotional life. Either they bottle everything up until they explode, or they let every minor irritation live rent-free in their mind for weeks. The 24-hour rule charts a middle path. Full acknowledgement followed by complete relief. Imagine your mind as a courtroom. When something upsetting occurs, you have 24 hours to present your case. Call your witnesses, the anger, the hurt, the frustration. Let them all speak. Then when time's up, the gavel comes down, verdict rendered. Case closed. No appeal. This systematic approach prevents emotions from becoming permanent residents in your mental space. The magic of this practice reveals itself in two ways. First, you'll discover how many things that seemed vitally important at hour 1 have faded to nothing by hour 24. That harsh email, that social slight, that minor professional setback, given a day's perspective, most prove unworthy of prolonged attention. Second, for those few matters that still feel significant after 24 hours, you'll approach them with clearer thinking and calmer energy. Try it today. When something gets under your skin, note the time. For that full day, feel whatever you need to feel. Journal about it, talk it through with a trusted friend, sit with the discomfort. Then, when the 24 hours have passed, consciously declare it finished. If your mind tries to revisit the issue, remind yourself that case is closed. Over time, this practice trains your emotional system like muscles being conditioned. You become stronger at sitting with temporary discomfort, yet more disciplined about not letting it become permanent. You develop discernment about what truly deserves your energy. And perhaps most importantly, you break the addictive habit of mental replay that turns minor incidents into major preoccupations. The 24-hour rule works because it honors both your humanity and your potential for growth. It says, yes, you may feel this fully, but no, you may not let it define you indefinitely. In a world where most people are either drowning in their emotions or pretending not to have any, this balanced approach becomes superpower, becoming the person nothing can shake. Calmness is not the absence of storms, but the ability to remain steady within them. Those rare individuals who seem unshakable, who maintain their composure when others lose theirs, who respond thoughtfully when others react impulsively, they aren't supernatural beings. They've simply made a decision about who they choose to be in the face of life's inevitable challenges. This isn't about becoming emotionless. The goal isn't to turn yourself into stone. It's about developing the profound self-awareness to recognize that between what happens and how you respond lies a space of choice. And in that space lives your true power. Consider two trees in a storm. One is rigid, unyielding. It cracks under pressure. The other bends with the wind, allowing the storm to pass through it. Both experience the same forces. Only one has learned how to move with them. Human emotional resilience works the same way. The unshakable person isn't someone who avoids feeling. They're someone who has learned how to let feelings move through them without being defined by them. People will assume you were born with this quality. They'll say you're just the calm type as if it were genetic. But the truth is far more interesting. Unshakable calm is built decision by decision, moment by moment. It's the accumulated result of countless small choices to breathe instead of react, to observe instead of absorb, to respond instead of reflect. The foundation of this state lies in a simple but radical understanding. Most of what upsets us doesn't deserve the energy we give it. That difficult person, that unexpected obstacle, that professional disappointment, they only have the power we assign them. The unshakable person isn't someone who never faces challenges. They're someone who has stopped giving challenges more weight than they merit. Start building this quality today in small ways. When you feel irritation rising, pause and ask, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? When anxiety appears, question it. Is this feeling based on an actual threat or an imagined one? Over time, these moments of pause accumulate into a new default setting, one where you're no longer at the mercy of every passing emotional weather system. The secret that truly calm people know is this. Peace isn't something you find, it's something you decide. Not once, but constantly. In every interaction, every challenge, every unexpected turn. The more you practice this choosing, the more natural it becomes, until one day you realize, without fanfare or drama, that very little shakes you anymore. And in that realization comes the greatest freedom of all, the knowledge that your emotional state is yours to command. This isn't the finish line of personal development, it's the starting point for everything else. When you're no longer spending your energy on emotional turbulence, you free up vast reserves for creation, for connection, for living the kind of life most people only imagine. The storms will still come. You'll just no longer confuse them with yourself. An unshakable mindset isn't about having a perfect life. It's about perfect control over how you experience life. The events don't change. You do. And that changes everything.